lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. The Drive-in Theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, what's up, guys? It is another Monday. It is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time here in Northwest Arkansas. You're tuned into the Drive-in Speakerbox, the best in film scores, soundtracks, DVD news, movie reviews, and everything in between. That's what we used to say years ago when DVDs came out.
Yeah, we used to do the what was released this week in
DVD,
physical media news.
Golly, remember those days? So as always, I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Jake, the big grip.
And we got a show for you tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into the chat, saying some shout-outs. Vince returned to the chat from Twitch. Hey, man, missed you guys. Missed you last week. He says, I scrubbed through last week's show twice to find the guy who called me boring or whatever, but I couldn't find him in the chat. Oh, don't worry. He'll pay. LOL. I mean, I was singing a lot of tunes at the time. If you didn't know me, I'm sure it was probably annoying if it was your first time joining in this show. Before you really just got addicted to that boom operator flavor. Tony Garrett saying, what up? Finally getting to watch an episode live and not the day after. Well, welcome, Tony. Thanks for tuning in over on YouTube. Sam over on Facebook saying, yo, what's up, Sam? Thank you for joining in. We love it when you guys are right here at the beginning.
Thanks to Sam for promoting our show on Facebook. Saw that earlier today.
Sam is always out there, he's like the street team, and he's not even in our town. He's down about 3 hours south of us in Little Rock. I believe you're still in Little Rock, yeah, or in that area. You don't live here, but yeah, he's always making 3D images and doing fun stuff for us, and sharing the gospel of the Drive-in Speakerbox. And we really appreciate all the hard work that Sam does, because it is work, man. Promoting stuff is work. And shout outs to Counterexample, who just tuned in on Twitch as well. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, close enough. Everything in Central Arkansas is Little Rock, as far as I'm concerned. My parents lived in a town that I don't even remember the name of, but it's like, down in Little Rock. They live in Little Rock. No, we didn't live in Little Rock. We lived in Ward. And I go, that's what I said, Little Rock.
What's that map of Arkansas where it's like the whole southern half of the state is just Little Rock?
It's Little Rock.
And then the northwest is Walmart, and then the entire eastern side just says mosquitoes.
That's about true. Yeah. Well, if you don't like the weather, wait till tomorrow. Mosquito's the national bird. Like every southern state ever is just like, mosquitoes the national bird. And, whatever, malaria. Tonight on the show, we're going to be talking to you about Army of the Dead. Mm-hmm. I checked it out in theaters. I think you watched it on Netflix.
On Netflix, yeah. So we did the thing we asked you not to do, but that was a time limit thing.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. We got some new releases in theaters this week. We're going to be talking about that. We got some news that happened this week. Not a whole lot, but we've got a fun show for you tonight. So thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're just now checking this out on the stream or you want to get us on the go, don't forget to subscribe where you subscribe podcast. It's the audio version of this. So if you're listening to the audio version of this now and you're going, duh, well, thank you. But there is a video version of this that is broadcast live. We don't edit this show. A lot of people are like, guys, your show's so good. And we're like, thank you. And they're like, but, these other shows are better. And it's like, yeah, well, they edit it down and cut out all the good parts or the bad parts and they prepare. We're just awesome. So Garrett says, hey, nerds, Batista is the shit.
Why didn't he say hey to me, too?
I think he was saying specifically hey to you. Vince says, you can really tell how long the pandemic has hit Jake. I've actually seen this T-shirt before. The old Amity Island swim team. Yeah, that's a classic.
Well, and unbeknownst to me, you also are wearing a movie Murder Monster shirt too.
I am, yeah. Like I'm wearing my USS Nostromo shirt. Yeah. So we're representing late '70s monster murder movies. So cool. But all right. Well, what do you want to start with? You got some news you want to start with? What do you want? You kick it off.
We'll start off with sad news so that we can roll into all the good stuff afterward. Last Tuesday, right after the show, Charles Grodin passed away. You likely know him most as the not so happy dad in Beethoven.
Or the not so happy dad in like
Yeah.
a litany of
Yeah.
movies.
And then the day after, Paul Mooney passed away.
Paul Mooney. Everybody, I don't think people really knew much about Paul Mooney until Chappelle's show. And you know, that put him really on. But Paul Mooney, a really hilarious dude with a really awesome career. I mean, both of those guys had great careers, and you know, it's always sad when you see someone vanish from the annals of time. But we'll always have their projects to look back upon and enjoy.
I think Comedy Central's already released like a best of Paul Mooney from Chappelle on YouTube is like a thing for him. And then it happened a couple weeks ago, but it was not reported until last week. Mira Kintaro passed away, the creator, author, and artist of Berserk.
I was gonna go turn the air conditioner off, but I forgot that. I was like, no, I got to talk about this.
Yeah, that's your thing. You're the anime
Dude,
guy.
yeah, if you don't mind, like, just thank you, Carl. Our producer over there, turning the AC off. I forgot to do that. Sound guy. What am I doing? I'm lazy. But Berserk, yes, one of the longest consistently published mangas in history. One of the most influential ones. You know, of course, sometimes he would take year-long breaks that would just, you know, pause and would really upset a lot of fans, but he kept doing it up until really his death. I mean, he died young. I think, what was he, 54?
He was,
age, I think I saw.
Yeah, he was not very old.
Which is, you know, kind of difficult news because, you know, too soon, man, and also we're never gonna get to see. We're never going to get to see the conclusion of the Black Swordsman's quest to, you know, I mean, he finally reunited with Casca, or Casca spoke, I think, which, I mean, he's been reunited with Casca for a long time, but mentally, Casca spoke, I think, last year for the first time? Like, you don't know any of this. But
you really got me on that one. I did read that he started his career at the age of 18 by working for the creator of Hajime no Ippo, which is sick.
You're like, I don't know what you're talking about, nerd, but Hajime no Ippo.
Have you watched Ippo?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's a boxing anime. It's sick.
But Berserk is, you know, really a very influential, not just in his artistic style, but his storytelling style, and very controversial in a time where people weren't so used to seeing a lot of violence and a lot of just raw, horrible stuff in these mangas, and that were
people.
Well, I mean,
not the Japanese audience.
You're talking like early 90s when he started this stuff, and you know, he was doing stuff that nobody else was doing. That, you know, you watch the original Berserk show, and people are at the time were like, ban it, it's too bad, it's too awful, it's too brutal, it's too whatever. And kind of by today's standards, it's a little bit tame.
Not in Nihon though.
No, everywhere they were like, no, it's too much.
I don't know about
it's
that.
just too much. That's why it's always had a hard time getting an anime adaptation, not only because his art style is very, very detailed, but, you know, everybody's like, I don't know if I want to see a whole lot of monster rape in this really good story. I mean, there is a you know, subculture for that, but that people are just like, yeah, let's just skip to the monster rape. But the monster rape's a part of the story in this.
So, in other
Berserk!
news,
okay, any anime that you've ever seen a dude with a really, really large sword, Final Fantasy VII, anything like that, that's all Berserk, man. That's all coming from Berserk. So don't make that face, because you don't know. You just clearly said, you're like, I don't know anything about that, and I'm also not a weeb, so shut your mouth.
all right, you can be the
Let
weeb.
the weeb drive.
You can be the weeb.
Unless you just want to admit to everybody live on air that you know about more than this than me, making you a weeb.
No, I don't know anything about weeb stuff. I know things about history things.
About weeb history.
No.
Okay,
anyhow.
I'm giving you the opportunity here.
Hey, did you see that Eternals trailer?
Okay.
How about that?
What I thought.
U.S. weebs, the like the domestic entertainment.
Domestic weebs.
Yeah, that's what comic book fans and Marvel and MCU fans will be now. They're domestic weebs.
Well, that trailer hit. I didn't actually get a chance to watch it. It's not a thing that's super huge on my radar.
It's just Angelina Jolie doing a really weird accent, and then it shows them like building pyramids and handing people knives or something. I don't know. There wasn't really much to it. You get to see Kumail Nanjiani like being a superhero, and Rob Stark being a
also
immortal
superhero?
man. You get to see a flash of Jon Snow. I'm not bothering with some of the real names. I'm sorry. It was something. It's a trailer. It looks better than Quan Chi. No, that's Mortal Kombat. Shang-Chi, whatever that the MCU Kung Fu Wire Fu movie is that's supposed to be coming out. Yeah, it's a thing. It's gonna be there. It recreated the Avengers shawarma scene. And they're like, who's going to lead the Avengers? Oh, I guess I could. And everyone's like, no. So there's that. Yeah. Speaking of blah things, the Webby Awards were a thing that happened.
Blah.
That's there. That's out there. If you care about that kind of thing.
Did you hear about the Wanda Group selling off almost all of its stake in AMC theaters this past week?
I didn't. No.
Yeah. So if you don't know who the Wanda Group is, it's a huge Chinese conglomerate that owned most of its it was like a controlling stake in AMC, huge stake, and they sold all of it. They just sold I think almost all of it. From the article I read, it says entire. I'm reading it right here again. Exiting the U.S. theatrical exhibition business in the process. Which is really strange, but it also seems like they got out due to the recent sort of Reddit-inspired trajectory of AMC stocks, getting it back up to pre-pandemic levels. Maybe the Wanda Group was thinking, what a great time to get out of here, and then threw in the towel, which I think is weird because right now movies are starting to return. The seeds are starting to grow. I mean, we do have 2 movies coming out in theaters this weekend that are new. You got Fast and Furious already out in international markets, soon to be coming. There's early releases coming out saying that it's already hitting box office charts in other countries. And it seems like an odd move to be getting out of the theater business right when there's a chance that it can come back again. But
talking about theaters and everyone going back and Fast and Furious, Velvet Santa asked if I saw the Vin Diesel skit for AMC theaters
Return to the movies.
Yeah, on SNL this past weekend. I did. I watched that. I watched that little segment there of Vin Diesel trying to get people to go to the movies.
The movies.
The movies. Yeah. And then my favorite part was at the end where he was in the theater and they say, oh, you have to actually wear a mask. And he goes, I'm going to watch it at home instead. Because, that's exactly how so many people are, which is pathetic. That's disappointing that there are so many people out there like that. And it was kind of painful to see that, where it's like, yeah, the movies, and it's going to be sick, and you get to enjoy the movies.
And they just list all the things
and
that
all the
everyone
things
hates.
that are like fun and goofy, but that people hate. Sticky floors at the movies.
I like that they included the Aerosmith game Revolution
Dude,
X.
how sick was that? Because we talk
like,
about that way too often.
Music is the weapon.
Shoot the desk.
Yeah, because, every movie theater in the universe, it seemed at one point had an arcade, and there's still a bunch of them left clinging on to, there's 1 or 2 coin-operated games in the corner, and it's usually, Revolution X or something.
When I worked at the movie theater, that we had a Ridge Racer in there, and I just became king of Ridge Racer. No one could touch me. Anytime I was on my break or whatever, I was playing Ridge Racer, just making it happen.
What about Ridge Racer 2?
Well, I don't know.
I just remember that game used to shout, Ridge Racer 2, every time I'd walk by it. And I'm like, I get it, you exist.
They had the prize games, and one of them was called Flame Finger.
No, Flame Finger is a ripoff scam. It is a
hold on.
No, that game.
You haven't heard what I have to say.
You have a hack for Flame Finger?
I do.
No,
When
it's impossible.
No, it is. When you work at the movie theater, you use the popcorn butter, and you grease the screen.
Wait, you make a slug trail of popcorn butter to get through, and there's no way, because I've played.
No, you grease your finger because the screen heats up and it creates friction and it won't let you do it. You butter the finger and and you win, dude.
No, because I
I have a ton of prizes to prove it. My brother backed me up. We worked there at the same time, and we just killed the machine, and then they got us in trouble. They said quit winning prizes.
quit lubing your fingers.
Yeah, you just got to lube it up and flame finger away, man.
No way, because I would try. It's like, this seems too easy.
Dude, I had a flame finger dog. I'm telling you.
Man, now I got to go track down a flaming finger machine because it's like the closer you get, it's like you have 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and you're like, wait, that's not how time is linear, machine. That's not how a second works. But it seems like they would always accelerate time.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's a scam for sure, but that's why you get a greased up finger. But if you start,
you got to tap into the butter force.
Too, then if you start slow, the algorithm changes, man. There's a way to win those prizes, and I did it.
The speed force of butter.
And the Namco guy that came and serviced all the machines.
Why are these covered in butter?
He looked exactly like Super Mario, and he didn't realize it, but all of us did, and it was the weirdest thing because he was a video game guy.
He showed up and he goes, "It's a me, a Namco repairman."
No, and that's not okay. You can't do that.
That's
anymore.
That's Mario's voice.
Yeah.
That's Mario. Is Mario not okay to imitate?
I don't know.
Mario, right?
I couldn't tell you, dude.
Yahoo! Like, I don't. Yahoo!
There it is.
Did Mario also do the Yahoo
I don't know. You
jingle?
can look up the voice actor.
I don't know. What a weird multiverse we live in.
But yeah, the skit was pretty good.
Vince says he remembers waving a broom in front of the Papa Shot sensor to get mad tickets. Where did you get a broom? I guess, did you work there?
Dude, you don't, if you're real tall.
Did you bring a broom? They're like, don't mind me, just here to sweep.
If they don't have the big walls on the sides of those, I just go in and I put my hand in front of it, and you just, and you get all the points.
You guys are a bunch of cheaters.
Hell yeah, dude.
I tried to get tickets based
on
on
skill. We're the cheaters. You ever see the games and how they do it? They're a cheat.
So that makes it okay to cheat?
Yeah.
Mr. Judge Dredd over here, Mr. Following the rules, but now we know that you're a butterfinging, slick son of a bitch that's just cheating every system you can, just greasing them locks, stealing them prizes from hard-working machines. I see how it is.
Santa asked if it was the Donkey Kong marquee or Super Mario Super Show Mario. He was like the marquee with the more fluff and curl to the mustache and a bit more rough.
The more like Mando's Pizza style Mario than the future one we know of. Vince says, "I'm Italian. It's cool. Italian's the one group it's okay to make fun of." LOL. So I guess we got permission. Velvet Santa says, "I'm bringing my Harbor Freight car jack to Pinpoint to level the playing field." I mean, it makes the games less fun, but you could, cheat.
For the skee ball or the pinball?
Vern says, "I've seen Jake grease down a few Coors." I've also seen Jake grease down a few Coors. Never seen him Butterfinger, though, and now this is...
Dude, let's find a flaming finger machine and just whoosh.
All right.
We'll take some
popcorn
butter.
If we can find one, we'll make a YouTube video of it. It won't be just like, Jake finally butters the finger.
No, we're not naming it that.
Why not? I think we'd get a lot of hits, dude. Check out our OnlyFans where Jake butters the finger. Speaking of OnlyFans, did you guys see their new marketing campaign where they're trying to, this is media related, where they're opening up and trying to attract like DJs to come do live sets and live streams?
Well, that's one of the things that originally started as was access to people like that, and they're
not just people's genitalia.
Yeah. But of course, that was more popular than people seeking out musical artists and things of that nature. So
can't we have nice things?
It's just one of those companies where they have a vision and everyone else is like, but what if we used it for this? And they're like, hey man, if you're giving me more money for that, then that's what it is.
I mean, any significant advancement in technology instantly gets adopted by poo poo pee pee penis fart boobs. I mean, just earlier in the show, this guy right here got him a brand new Microsoft Surface tablet. I mean, like top of the line, and he comes in and he's like, check it out, and then he gets a stylus and he draws poop. I mean, it happened. It's real.
There was a reason. We were supposed to be doing some fancy boy podcasts, like high-tech stuff, and turns out some information was left out, and so a piece of equipment necessary to make that happen was left behind, and so
doo-doo drawings.
Doodling the Duke was all that was left. So
Vince says, I have a question. How come Jake can see a gnarly scene in an action film and it's fine, but the slightest possible scare in a horror film and he runs the other way? That is a good
That's
question.
not how it works, and I think you've portrayed me very incorrectly to our audience, where I'm some sort of squeamish
I don't
boy
think I
that
needed
can't
help
watch
in that.
horror movies. No, I
You
don't.
want to go see the new Conjuring movie?
No, dog, because I don't like jump scares, man.
Okay.
Straight up, I don't like jump scares, despite the fact I'm wearing a Jaws shirt, which has several.
You want to watch Rosemary's Baby? Have you ever watched Rosemary's Baby?
like the original?
Yeah. You ever watched it?
Parts of it.
There's no jump scares.
Yeah, parts of it. I just don't like horror movies.
Yeah?
I like the goofy ones. I like Critters and Leprechaun and Nightmare on Elm Street and
I mean, you watched Army of the Dead. That's
I did
essentially a
watch
horror
Army
movie.
of the Dead. Yeah. There's
Did you get scared?
yeah, totally, dude. It was nighttime and I had to
Some
make sure all my
zombies?
doors were extra locked.
You were nailing things to the windows?
Nah, it was a friggin' goofy movie, man.
Yeah, it was.
But I
We're gonna
just,
talk
yeah,
about it.
I really don't care for scary movies much. It's not really my thing. I don't go out of my way to find them, but I do like the goofy ones. I like
Drag Me to Hell?
no, more
I
like
thought it was fun.
more like the killer clowns from
Army of Darkness?
outer space. I like Army of Darkness. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I don't like scary.
I just like being
movies.
scared, man. It's just hard to go to sleep at night after I watch those.
No, well, there's movies like Hellraiser. I don't really like. It's just not a good movie. to me.
The lament. So speaking of Hellraiser, Hellraiser is headed to Hulu as a remake. For those of you guys interested in that one, it's going to be helmed by Night House director David Bruckner. Yet another adaptation of Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart, which he adapted into the 1987 film Hellraiser. It's going to have the Cenobites. It's going to have, probably demonic S&M suits and summoned to our world through the Lament configuration, which is that weird, fun puzzle box that, unlocks all of your wildest dreams. Yeah, dude, Pinhead's cool.
Velvet Santa said I need to watch at least the Dawn of the Dead from '78 once. I've watched all of those George Romero movies. My brother was for a long time obsessed with everything zombie related. So I've definitely seen all of those. There was a time where I used to go out of my way to find horror when I was a kid. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I read all the Goosebumps and things like that. I went out of my way for horror.
I was super into horror.
No.
Goosebumps. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Dude, they were creepy when you're a kid, bro. I watched Tales from the Crypt and
Bro, scary stories to tell in the dark. I had all those books,
I
dude.
did. I really did.
Talk about sheer terror.
They were creepy, bro.
Dude, R.L. Stein. Bro.
They were creepy, bro. What are you talking about? They made it into a creepy movie recently. No, but I think I just got all the horror out of the way when I was young, and it's just not for me, and I don't like it. Like,
Velvet Santa asks, remember when Pinhead showed up at the MTV Spring Break? I do remember that, and I think he also showed up at on Arsenio Hall, or maybe that was no, I think that was Jason Voorhees got interviewed on Arsenio Hall, and he's just sitting there going.
Arsenio probably did that thing where he climbed on the chair and ran away and went to commercial.
I mean, that did happen a lot. Speaking of horror, I don't know if you
Accent. I don't have an accent.
I don't know if you guys read about this or not, but speaking of horror,
Accent.
Spiral, which is the latest edition of the Saw franchise, has
Show your seeds.
officially made the Saw franchise enter the $1 billion club, which is pretty rare for I mean, you get these blockbuster movies that make $1 billion, but a lot of other movies, particularly horror, they measure as the franchise as a whole. But the Saw franchise has now made $1 billion worldwide box office totals, meaning we're gonna get more of them. So the story will never end, and congratulations for that. Making way too much money, more than it deserves.
And Chris Rock was already talking sequels before the movie was released. So.
Stupid. Vern says, I thought Salute Your Shorts was scary. I mean, who's named Donkey Lips? Actually, Zeke the Plumber, that episode of Salute Your Shorts was pretty scary. It was Zeke the plumber, Zeke the plumber. And it was like the dude with and he had the face and the plunger, and he'd come after your face in your dreams. It was basically like a take off of Freddy Krueger.
And wasn't it just camp counselor Ugly, who they mistook for him because it was raining and he had the trench coat and the plunger to fix something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Buttnick and Donkey Lips and Ugly.
Yeah, dude.
Eugene Lee, Ugly. Yeah. I watched some Salute Shorts and some Hey Dude.
Hey Dude. I didn't get into Hey Dude. I didn't think
Hey
it was
Dude
as
was
fun.
probably the best one.
But Salute Your Shorts, I watched quite a bit of that. Hey, shout outs to my mother tuning in on Facebook, saying hi to us from out of town. Hello. Vince says, shows how strong the franchise is. I thought Chris Rock being in any movie is box office poison. Hey, now, I mean, Pootie Tang was such a big hit.
He was the dad for like 4 minutes.
No, and he was the radio guy. He was the corn, the dad. He played a couple of different characters in Pootie Tang, and I think he was an executive producer.
I guess I just remember the important part where he gave Pootie Tang his belt.
This belt, and he goes, "Don't ever let a woman come between you and the belt."
Sadate.
Yeah. Capitown's a biddy. Wadata. In other news, one other thing that I want to mention. Did you see this? I know that Jake would love this.
Who are we that we're just like, oh, Pootie Tang?
Well, I mean, pretty much anytime someone's like, here's something in the comments, we're like, oh, yeah, dude, like, salute your shorts.
Yeah, I think in the list of top 10 things we talk about, it's like Wayne's World and Pootie Tang.
No, I'd say Star Trek.
Yeah, Wayne's World, Star Trek, Bill and Ted. Pootie Tang's in the top 10. It's in there. It might be 9 or 10, but it's in there.
Pootie Tang's up there.
Yeah. All right,
So, everybody's been kind of talking about Hiroyuki Sanada lately because of Mortal Kombat. He played Scorpion lately. Hiroyuki Sanada also in the new film that we're going to be reviewing later, Army of the Dead. Just seems like we just can't get enough of Hiroyuki Sanada, which is okay with me because I love this guy. I love seeing him even if he's just standing there not saying anything, which is most of the time. He's awesome. He's just awesome to see. But there is a FX limited series coming out based upon, again, James Clavell's Shogun, which, is adding Hiroyuki Sanada and Cosmo Jarvis to its cast. If you've never seen the original, who was the guy that was in the original?
It was Toshio Mifune, wasn't it?
No, the television miniseries, the white dude, it was big famous TV miniseries. I cannot think of his name. I think didn't he also play? One of those Alan Quartermain movies. Somebody's gonna say it in the comments. I mean, of all the things we can think of, Zeke the plumber from Salute Your Shorts, but I'm drawing him. I was like, it's not like Chamberlain. Richard Chamberlain. There it is. I was like, it's not Wilt Chamberlain, but there's one of the Chamberlains. But yeah, Richard Chamberlain's Shogun, which was actually a pretty good television miniseries, came out, I want to say, in the early 80s, maybe even the late 70s if timeline. Early 80s. Okay, I hit it the first time. But they're wanting to revisit this, and a pretty ambitious sort of project to take on. Again, a serious period piece, usually telling the story of it's essentially the last samurai story, that we got a film adaptation of with Tom Cruise. What are you turning your face up at that movie?
I don't think Shogun and Last Samurai take place in the same
time
period.
I thought the story of that particular, if this is the same miniseries that I think they're talking about, because it's about the fall of the last shogunate, and he had that gaijin dude that was his homie, and it just, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the project. I just saw Shogun adding Hiroyuki Sanada based off of the James Clavell Shogun. I don't know. I think it's, I'm going to have to read more into it.
It might, yeah, William the Samurai. Look it up, real person. So when everyone's like, oh, Last Samurai, Paul Mooney, being like, well, yeah, Tom Cruise can be Last Samurai, Brad Pitt can be the Mexican, Tom Hanks can be, insert joke here. I can't say it. But in real history, William the Samurai was a real person. Hey, and you know what? Two things. This just reinforces our thoughts after our Mortal Kombat episode where we wish that Hiroyuki Sanada would have been swapped with I can't remember the guy that played Raiden's name right now, but they should have swapped.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Hiroyuki Sanada should have been
yeah.
Raiden, since he had more
100%.
speaking roles. Since they just had Scorpion speak Japanese, they should have had the guy from Battleship be him, Asano, something, some Hiroyuki Asano Hiroyuki, because there's been 3 Hiroyukis in Mortal Kombat now, Tagawa, Sanada, and Asano. But they should have had them switch because Hiroyuki Sanada is way better English, which he showcased in Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead.
But also,
and he just has a presence. He has a screen presence that, like, a Lord Raiden would have.
well, watch the movie Onmyoji.
Oh God,
Onmyoji is sick, and Hiroyuki Sanada is the bad guy in it, and he's awesome as the bad guy. But for weebs such as yourself, and talking about foreigners involved with Shogun and samurai and things like that, you see that Yasuke
on Netflix.
anime is on Netflix.
Yeah, I actually started watching that. I'm only about 2-3 episodes in.
I saw the trailer for it, and it opens up trying to be like real history stuff, and then they just like murk out my boy Oda, and they're like, oh, but what if superpowers existed and Yasuke just hung out in Japan
It escalates quickly with like magic and robots and like all kinds of stuff.
The thing about that is I've been meaning to purchase the book that came out last year or in 19 about Yasuke, and I can't remember what it's called. I know one of our commenters in here has talked to us about it before. I think it was Carl. But that book, it's like this thick. But in real history, the amount of information about Yasuke is approximately this paragraph. Yeah. So that's why I want to get that book, because I'm sure there's some definite assumptions and liberties there, but it would be interesting to see how they chose to do that. But Yasuke was a man of African descent, if not just pure African, who became a samurai essentially under Oda Nobunaga. Yeah. So foreigners becoming warriors in Japan, there's at least 2 of them, as far as far outside of the normal.
And a lot of people don't realize how rare that really is, because they don't understand how locked down that country was for most of its existence. So stories like this are really pretty amazing, because those people weren't, they were exceptional.
I picked the wrong time to giggle. Velvet Santa said he forgot his Mortal Kombat joke. Your mama's so ugly, Scorpion said, stay over there. And then Vince came in and said, fatality.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah.
Finish
nice.
him.
Yeah, man, I want to see Hiroyuki Sanada and more stuff, but I've been a fan of his for a long time. I really liked him in The Last Samurai, where he played, what was his name in that? I used to remember that character's name. He hits Tom Cruise in the face with the Boken a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
And he ends up being one of the most badass dudes in the
he
whole
had
thing.
That was the scene where he's on the roof or whatever, or no, at the end of that walkway with the bow and arrow, and he's just murking people.
Oh, and the ninjas are attacking?
Yeah, and he's like, just like standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Being awesome.
And then Onmyoji really cemented me being a big fan of his. So.
Vince says, is The Last Samurai worth it?
The Last Samurai is a sick movie.
It is. A lot of people that don't really, that aren't weebs like, I guess, just me, and not this guy over here.
I went to school for Japanese history, and I like action films, and I really like Hiroyuki Sanada and Ken Watanabe, man. I'm a big fan of Ken Watanabe's.
My point is, though, a lot of people immediately see Tom Cruise and go, oh my gosh, they're just making this dumb movie with Tom Cruise about samurais. And if you watch the movie and you understand about the historical significance and accuracy of a lot of the things that they were doing in this film, it stands up. I mean,
the Meiji Revolution and Meiji Restoration and William the Samurai and Saigo Takamori. So the character Ken Watanabe portrays is very accurate, or accurate enough for film representation in the story they tell of Saigo Takamori. Tom Cruise's character is close enough to how William the samurai was, which he was an Englishman. He washed up on shore from a boat wreck. At the time, Japan was crucifying anyone that was
Not
European.
them.
Yeah. And then, but he spoke English, which they'd never heard before, and that saved his life. He became best friends with the shogun and was granted being a samurai, but never allowed to go home. So he sent letters to his family all the time, but was never allowed to leave Japan because it was on lockdown. So it's taking two historical truths and combining them
to an
make
interesting
make
narrative.
a story. Yeah. But
It's definitely worth a watch. It's a beautiful film.
Oh yeah, I liked that movie at a time where I wasn't a Tom Cruise fan, and through movies like that, I've become like a really big Tom Cruise fan because despite what he does in his personal life or whatever, the man's a good actor. Yeah, and so
Makes some movies that are enjoyable.
when you have a cast like that with Hiroyuki Sanada, Ken Watanabe, and Billy Connolly and Tom Cruise,
I forgot Billy Connolly was in that movie. Oh yeah, he was so good.
yeah, it's a good movie. Everything about it works. It's a good action movie. It makes you feel strong emotions. All of the armor and weapons in it are perfect. The battle scenes are interesting.
The
and
set
fun.
design is
Everything about
on
it.
point.
And it's about a stranger in a new culture, and he learns a way to fit in by being someone that recognizes their plight and warrior, because he came from being in the army and having to destroy the lives
Be
of
a
Native
soldier,
Americans, and so he saw this other culture because he never wanted to be a part of someone that damaged other cultures, but respected them, and it's a really good movie. But
If
we're
you've
not here
not-
to talk
yeah.
about Last Samurai. That's my review on The Last Samurai, released 15 years ago.
Yeah, the more you know. Let's talk about some new movies that are coming out in theaters this week before we jump into talking about Army of the Dead, which, of course, is always the new movie reviews are what we say for the last. But there are two big movies coming out this weekend in theaters nationwide, which, this is the first time we've had two movies coming out, competing against one another at the theater. And the first one, with Emma Stone, coming from Disney, of course, because just like Disney, take everything that you've already seen them do, and they'll do it again and again and again until they can keep making money on it. But this time, much like in the vein of Maleficent, let's take the bad guy from a character or from a movie that you've seen and know, and we're going to make them the central part of the movie. So this one is Cruella, of course, a live-action prequel film following a young Cruella de Vil, puppy murderer extreme. Starring Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, and Joel Fry. This is directed by Craig Gillespie. Again, in this sort of path that Disney's trying to take on finding new characters without creating new characters. And, they're just, how do we keep milking the properties that we have?
And this is something they pushed out pretty quick because its an initial trailer was released only 2 months ago, something like that. Not that long ago, we were like, oh, the trailer for Cruella's here, a surprise from Disney, and bam, it's in theaters quick. So
the one thing that I'm really interested about this movie is in Maleficent is a character in Sleeping Beauty that is just, she's the evil witch. You don't know much about her motivation. You don't really know what she's doing other than living in a castle, telling everybody to leave her alone, and she makes a princess go to sleep. You get almost no context. It's like old stories like that. There's like, there's a bad person up there. And then with Maleficent, they were like, okay, well, how can we, maybe make her a little bit more likable. Maybe she's not that bad. Maybe there's a reason why she became bad. I'm really curious how Disney's going to spin justification of mass puppy genocide. Like, it's puppies! And,
Dogs.
how are they going to go, maybe.
People were mean to her in fashion school when she went to England.
And
That
so,
was the trailer.
she needs to murder a bunch of puppies to work through that trauma. Like, how are they going to make this work? And so I'm really curious to see what direction they take this character to make her a likable protagonist in this film, because
Maybe she's not the protagonist. Maybe she is the antagonist, but the film just follows her.
I just don't. Disney's never done that before. You don't, there's anti-heroes and there's antagonists and protagonists, and the protagonists always, even the anti-heroes, have a likable arc that makes their actions justifiable. She's a puppy murderer, and an insane megalomaniac puppy murderer that also doesn't obey traffic laws, and
has cracked out eyeballs.
Yeah,
because what's in her fancy early 1900s
smoke? She's a
cigarette?
chain smoker, which is also not cool. Like, are we going to learn about her nicotine addiction, or what was it?
Probably has more addictions than that at that point in time. Yeah.
You know, and as McLean says, maybe this is Disney's Joker.
Well, did you see Velvet Santa said coming soon, the brooms and buckets from Fantasia? And Vince said, yeah, let's Annabelle this bitch.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And also coming soon, the creepy chefs from Lady and the Tramp. Or we just get a reality show about the Italian kitchen. It's just like like a Guy Fieri style,
or like one of
noodles,
those
pasta, and kitchens.
One of those Disney characters where the chef just always has a butcher's knife trying to kill whatever animal the movie follows.
Oh yeah, there's always that character.
Make
like,
a movie
oh,
about that person.
You're made of meat. Get over here in my pot. Chop, 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 chop. Like every single one of them. Let's see.
Oh, well, Vince said he'd watch a Waldorf and Statler movie. Yeah, everyone would, because they would just be awful to everybody, and it would be perfect.
Well, was it?
They got canceled.
Well, they did a skit on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago. With,
they did with
Statler.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah, and
Keenan were the bouncers, and they
beat him up.
Yeah, they told him they had to shut up.
Oh, man. Well, also coming out this week in theaters, A Quiet Place 2. Finally.
Oh, man, I saw another trailer for it today. I'm done with it. 3 years of trailers for one movie. And it's been the same trailer. They've
over and over and over. John Krasinski has managed to figure out a way to beat us over the head with trailers for this movie. Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy joining the cast as probably the unlikable double crosser in this film.
Cillian Murphy.
Go figure.
Velvet Santa came up with the best subtitle for it. Even
quieter, more silent. This time there's a baby in a box. What's in the box? But we've got Quiet Place 2 finally coming out. I want to see this movie just so I don't have to see the trailers anymore. Like, I'm ready for it. Like, the first one was really unique, really interesting, did a lot of new stuff. It really put a lot of eyes on John Krasinski and the less is more formula, returning to the less is more formula for horror. And I think that with this sequel, it's just already taking the less is more and throwing it out the window, because more is more. The movie stopped at a really good place, but now they're like, money, and we got to get another one. And I have a feeling that this one is not going to be as strong, just because they're having to rush to figure out a way to make more, and that never makes a good movie. Also, SHG over on YouTube said Emma Stone has Jabba the Hutt eyes. What are Jabba the Hutt eyes?
I don't know, like a toad's eye. Like if a toad was like on coke, yeah.
A toad on coke. I'm gonna have to deep dive into Emma Stone and Jabba the Hutt eye similarities when we're done with the show. Velvet Santa says they should do a Hear No Evil, See No Evil style crossover with Bird Box. Oh God, Bird Box! I don't want to think about that movie ever again. Razzie and Academy Award winner at the same year, Sandra Bullock. So yeah, those two movies are coming out this weekend, May 28th. In theater near you, so you can check that stuff out.
Vince corrected your pronunciation of.
I'll say his name however I want to say it.
Silly pronunciation.
People spell names that are not dumb. Like, if you spell your name dumb, that's on you, dude.
He's Irish, bro.
Put a K in it. We're in America.
He's not.
Yeah, well, he's in America now. I'll say it however I wanna.
Hot takes.
Hot takes. All right, so let's talk about Army of the Dead. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this thing before we run out of time, because we only have about 20-ish minutes or less. Army of Dead, Zack Snyder. You know, everybody's talking Zack Snyder right now. We've had Snyder cuts. We've had Snyder this and Snyder that and Snyder verse and just
Snyder of Hanover. Great movie snack.
Oh.
As long as you're not sitting next to other people. If you're
because that flavor langers.
Well, just because pretzels are loud food.
Yeah, I went to the movie to see Army of the Dead, and I was that guy. I was hungry, and I wanted something. I was like, man, you know what really sounds good? Nachos. And then I ordered it, and I'm like, damn it, I'm the guy with the rattly plastic and the bag that you got to open. And now everything comes in bags. Like the jalapenos come in bags and the chips come in a bag. And then the crackly plastic made from like sun chip plastic that every time you touch it, it like goes. And then you crunch them. And man, I just had to eat them as fast as I could because I felt really guilty about ordering them. But man, it was really good having nachos. Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder. It's a thing. It's on Netflix. It's also in movie theaters. And it is a movie that is about every zombie trope you've ever seen in a zombie movie, and a heist that is about every heist trope that you've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, very predictable movie.
Yeah, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, it was like, what if there's a heist movie, but the stakes are even higher? Because zombies in Vegas
and
baby.
Nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and they're on a time frame.
Oh man! So this movie has quite possibly one of the most wafer-thin plots that you could ever put in a movie. It's there's a bunch of money in Vegas because that's where the zombie apocalypse takes place. They wall it off. They're going to nuclear drop the zombies to get rid of them. But hey, Vegas has a lot of money, so they entice a group of crack team, non-skilled people that just managed to get out of there alive and send them back in because they've been there before and they seen it. Why? Because money. But
and just all of the plot holes.
Yeah, and just like every zombie movie that you've ever seen in your entire life, always a double cross, always a double cross, always an evil organization that you should never trust, always a couple of people that have no point in double crossing anybody, but they do it just because humans are assholes.
And here's your clue that that it's evil and pointless and stuff. Hey, I'm gonna hire you to go get into my safe. The money's already been covered by insurance. I don't need the money. But if you want to go get the money, it's there. And I'm telling you for no reason. But take a safe cracker. Well, it's your safe. Why not just give me the code? No, bye.
Yep. And then
that's the plot of the movie that you learn in the first 5 minutes. I'm not ruining anything. It's dumb. They're like, oh, we have to take a safe cracker for no reason.
We have to take a comic relief because we don't have one yet.
Mm-hmm.
And and then it's got
you mean the horrible misogynistic camp rapist wasn't the comic relief?
The camp rapist. Oh God, that guy. The guy from Luke Cage. That guy was awful. One of the interesting things is this movie, it did add comic relief in the form of a reshoot because of all of the scandals around the comedian that got canceled, Delia. He was playing the helicopter pilot, but they did all these reshoots with Tig Notaro, who ended up becoming probably the most likable character of the whole movie, and she didn't even shoot any of the movie with the cast. She's not met any of the cast members, which is pretty amazing.
There's scenes with them talking. Are you saying she was on green screen?
The whole time. Yeah, if you read about Zack Snyder spending millions to get Tig Notaro in the movie to replace all the parts where Delia was in, that's the most impressive part of this movie. And Tig Notaro, for someone who was added in after the fact, becoming probably the best part of this movie, kind of shows you the weakness of this movie.
Well, yeah, and that's wild. Chris D'Elia's on the upswing again, which is also weird.
Maybe there'll be a Snyder cut where you can choose, like in the DVD menu, it's like, do you want Tig Notaro in this movie or do you want Chris D'Elia in this movie?
She was there was only two characters in the whole, or I guess 3. The coyote was kind of a character, even though she sucked. There's the shitty daughter that ruins everything for everybody.
That has every zombie movie plot point where I'm so mad at you because you killed my mom, but then when it comes back down to it,
you're gonna take me longer. I'm gonna go anyhow. But if you take me, everyone dies because I'm gonna ruin it for everyone because I'm gonna have to do it.
That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah. So there's that character, which is awful. There's the coyote character, which is dumb.
The person that knows everything, and I've been here before, and you ain't seen the things I've seen.
Yeah, and then the only other real character was Tig Notaro's character because there was personality there. Everyone else was like, Dieter, he's dumb.
He's foreign,
Van,
so we can poke fun at German stereotypes.
Mean. Batista, he's big.
Yeah,
there's girls and a YouTuber.
For no reason. Yeah. Let's invite this guy I saw on YouTube. We're being contracted by a billionaire who's got like all this stuff, access to these things, blueprints, and you're like, assemble your team. And his team is like, well, I saw this guy on YouTube who kills zombies. Let's get that guy. And like, what the hell? And they're like, what was it, 500 million or something stupid? And 200 million, hundreds of millions. And they're like, well, you know what? Let's get a YouTuber that we saw like doing World Star videos on zombies.
Every person, they're like, are you in for $1 million? You're like, oh, sick.
Yeah, dude.
Are you in for $3,000? And someone's like, oh, yeah, count me in, dude. I could really use $20. This sounds great.
Let's go. Sign me up.
Yeah.
And this, like... Another thing that I didn't understand that made no sense is like the camp that's somehow still around Las Vegas to have plot points for a family of children to run back in there. It's like,
yeah, and they tried to say that the camp existed for reasons, but they don't tell you the reason, and it doesn't make sense. It's like,
well, and also
they call them a quarantine camp, but there's no quarantine because
they're not zombies.
They're not zombies, and everyone has lived near it and dealt with it enough and are well versed enough in it that they
in the
know
politics and culture of living in this camp.
Yeah, and they know how the zombies are made through bite only. It's not airborne. And there's no...
the government, if the government was so concerned with quarantining the Las Vegas, why not, instead of funding a camp to live literally on the other side of the wall of the zombies, I don't know, move it a block or two away, or 100 yards, or to the next city?
Well, the
I don't
whole
know.
thing is, it's not like they're not letting people come and go. They're not worried.
They're like
about
going,
contact.
oh, you want to go in there? All right, go on in.
Well, not the government, but there's like the volunteers and the camp rapist type guy and the people like him that
he was a government officer.
Yeah, but you can come and go freely with no need of medication or whatever. It was pointless.
There was no quarantine in the quarantine zone.
This is plot hole the movie. It makes no sense. I was saying, are you in for an Arby's gift card? Son of a bitch.
We're both in.
Dude, you know this show.
We're in. Dude.
Even the producer, when he was
God
here,
damn it, I'm going to Arby's
like,
now.
Yeah.
Jeez, thanks, Velvet Santa.
We need a sponsorship for some cheesy beef.
Dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Hey, we're looking at you, Nihilist Arby's Twitter. If you want to get on board of signing up for the Drive-in Speakerbox.
Loves Arby's. But this movie was just, they're like, well, what if something happened so that we could make this happen? Like, but why? And they're like, no. It's going to happen.
And it was so long and drawn out, and scenes that had
no resolution.
Like the scene where they first encounter like the zombie lady, and she just screams at the camera for at least a solid 5 minutes of just going,
well, out of focus.
And I'm just like looking at my friend. I'm like, gee, and that's the feeling that you just had.
If the guy
keeps going.
If the guy that said that you're annoying is in here right now, that's legit the movie though. That's
what happened.
Perfect. Just put him out of focus. Like make it where you're blurry and out of focus.
And then they did some meat trade, and they're like, okay, she's totally cool with it. Let's keep going.
Yeah, they hand over the rapist, and they're like, oh yeah, well he's gonna buy us where we can walk around uninhibited. And like, cool, well, let's walk around uninhibited.
Well,
and she goes, we can't do that because then that's
there's
showing
a tiger.
Off. No, they're like, oh, it's showing off. The tiger listens to the alpha thing. None of it makes sense.
Well, and here's the interesting...
And then the witch comes and attacks them even though they bought themselves admittance.
Meat time? I don't know. The thing, well, at that moment, there was an interesting point that they could have pursued of this zombie culture that a lot of movies never bother with. And it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I've not seen this in a zombie movie before. And they go, yes, let's establish a potential idea of a zombie culture in this movie, and then immediately throw it out the door for the entire rest of the movie until they get to that magic blue nut baby that they rip out for 5 seconds and explode it.
How come some of them have blue eyes and a mist that escapes them, but most of them don't? And
dude, it's like the Night King from the Night King from Game of Thrones had more explanation than this, and you're just like, what's happening? What's going on? What is this guy? How does he control? How do they talk to zombies? They got a culture? What's this magic blue goo? What's this baby that he made? Holy! And you're like, no. Slow-mo with Dave Bautista shooting bullets at the thing and doing all the tropes. Let's make sure we hit that. Even the poster is misleading with all the neon stuff and all. It like looks like it's going to be Suicide Squad the movie and wild and zany, and it was for like the 5-minute intro where the credits were still rolling, and then it goes, no, let's go back to everything you've ever seen.
All the things that you want to see, they're like, oh, well, when the zombies stand in the sun too long, they turn into beef jerky, but then when it rains, they come back to life. It's kind of cool. And you're like, oh, sick. And they're like,
except for all of the scenes took place in the sunlight, and no zombies turned into beef jerky.
No, the piles of the zombies when they come through, they're like, oh, yeah, here's all the slow walkers.
Yeah.
They turn into jerky, but when it rains, they come back to life. So it's like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, well, don't worry about it. And then...
Yeah, don't worry.
Instead, they just gave you all the fast ones that run around, and
it had potential.
Everything's just there so that it can, like the tiger's there so it can kill one person.
The guy who was afraid of the tiger.
Yeah,
which sets itself up from the very beginning, because at the very beginning you're like,
nothing
that
but
guy's going to betray everybody, duh.
Yeah, and Camp Rapist, when he gets turned into a zombie, is of course going to attack the girl that he was attacking when he was a person.
So she can murder him out.
So that she can shoot him.
Duh.
Yeah. Oh, so-and-so likes whoever. Well, she's or he's going to be dead. So-and-so became a friend. Well, now their friend's going to die. It's paint by numbers.
And then guess what? Just like every zombie movie in the history of zombie movies, the end. Question mark? Like, God dang it. This
that's
movie.
Because they're setting it up for...
Of course, they have to.
Sequels.
They have to, but what other
universes.
vault are they gonna heist? Are they gonna make another zombie blue fetus that got no freaking explanation at all? And then what happened to, you got to destroy the head, let's cut off the head, and this one just continues to live for the whole movie.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, yeah, you got to shoot him in the head. That's the only way to kill him. But then when they just spray and pray, they all end up with headshots.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. SHG says, sounds worse than the 04 DOTD, Day of the Dead, which I thought wasn't bad. This movie didn't really do... Like, that's my problem with zombie movies, is zombie movies, most of them have never really progressed from the original George Romero's, like, Night of the Living Dead. I mean, zombie movies, like most horror and science fiction, it's a reflection of what happens in our own society, and we use fantasy storytelling to draw question to problems that we have in our own realities, which makes it really easy to adapt into these stories and find likable characters and put ourselves vicariously into these characters' roles. And in every zombie movie, it's about the zombies aren't the problem, it's the people that are the problem. And it's a people story about, it's not man versus zombie, it's always man versus man when put their backs up against a zombie enemy. That's what zombie movies are always about, and we've never progressed from that. We've never explored the monster. We've made them faster. We've made them dumber. We've made them airborne. We've made them bite only. We've created all the dumb zombies, but we've never really changed the way we tell zombie stories, except for one or two
the
examples.
One where the zombie kid comes back to life because he wants to bang the human girl.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking about.
Warm Bodies. That's
Warm
what
Bodies.
that one's called.
And then the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where his daughter.
The newer movie with Abigail Breslin as the zombie girl.
That was a really cool use of a zombie trope to tell a new interesting story with a zombie background, and this movie didn't do it. This movie was just it felt like the how pointless and ridiculous the first Suicide Squad movie was from Zack Snyder. You're like, what is this? Why am I watching this? And then when you're done, you're like, I guess. And that's what this movie was. So let's see. Vern says, who wrote this garbage? I believe it was Zack Snyder who wrote this garbage. Written
him and his wife produced it.
Yeah, written and directed by Zack Snyder. Velvet Sin says, Night of the Living Dead 90 is still one of the best zombie films of all time. Would agree. McLean says, okay, but Warm Bodies. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
That's where we went.
So, yeah, I mean, there it is. If you want to just see some people blow up zombies, I mean, honestly, it seemed like it could have been a passable episode of Walking Dead. And you're like, oh, yeah, did you see this week's episode of Walking Dead? They went into a bank vault. And, like, that's...
Yeah, it's like... Oh, Walking Dead did an Ocean's 11 or a Kelly's Heroes or insert heist here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. The Dylan Dog did some of the pretty interesting stuff with zombies. But Dylan Dog, that wasn't exclusively zombies, if I recall. That was more, it had zombies in it. It had a lot of, like, supernatural other stuff going on. Because Dylan Dog, that was the guy who's from the Legends of Tomorrow, who was the Atom. That guy was playing Dylan Dog. And it's kind of a straight
Brandon Routh is Dylan Dog.
Yeah. And that was actually a pretty good movie. I think it could have been a lot better if it had more of a budget.
Talking about Legends of Tomorrow, there is that CW show based on that comic where the girl who is a pathologist or whatever it is, coroner or whatever she is, she's the zombie, and she like eats people's brains and takes their memories and helps solve the crimes of their murders.
Ooh.
Yeah. What was that show called? That's a show that's out there. She's a zombie, but she has
iZombie?
Yeah, iZombie. She has to eat the brains, but she does it and solves mysteries.
You guys ever seen Zombie? Zombi? That's a weird, if you want some Italo, creepy, disgusting body horror.
That the one with the music you used to play on the show all the time?
Goblin. I think Goblin did the score to that. Oh, yeah, so good. But anyway, all right, there we go. We are out of time. This guy's got to get to work. I've also got some things I need to take care of, and it's also getting hot in here because we turned the air conditioner off. So we're going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you like and subscribe on all your social medias. You get that Facebook, you get that Twitch, you get that YouTube. Please check us out and tell your friends. You can also download the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. We like Spotify, but you can get it on Apple Music and Google Music and all that fun stuff.
Vince had a hot take.
Oh, Cemetery Man, Delamorte. That one was pretty fun.
His hot take was Pesci was better in Lethal Weapon than Goodfellas. I mean,
Okay. What Leo wants, Leo gets.
I like action movies and comedy way better than I like mobster movies or any movies where they make the bad guys the good guys. I don't like the criminals being the good guys in movies, so I agree.
I don't know if I agree, but that's a tale for another time.
Oh, Vince doesn't agree. I guess it's just me. I like him better in Lethal Weapon.
See, yeah, that might be next week's episode. We pick this back up, the Joe Pesci argument. But anyway, send us your comments over there on all our social medias. We thank you so much. As always, I am Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Jake the Grip.
And we will see you guys next week.